Hey, what's up everybody? Aaron Matthew here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another one of my favorite lectures of the week, and yet again it is a TED Talk by Roger G. Gilbertson called The Unusual Earth Orbit Circling Above Our Ancient Past. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you for clicking the video, thank you for watching, thanks for coming and hang out. Make sure you click the like button if you like this so far, and leave me a comment down below if you've seen this video, or go watch the video and come back and let me know what you think, because this is kind of an interesting TED Talk, and I'll let you know for why in just a second. So let's get started. So this is a really cool TED Talk, and it's interesting, and I want to share it with you because, one, TED Talk put in the description on YouTube says, "We flagged this talk, which was filmed at a TEDx event, because it appears to fall outside the TEDx content guidelines." So TEDx is independently organized TED Talks. And it just seems to be quite a nice production. It looks like it's on a nice theater stage. They got good lighting, good sound. It's a nice production. But yet again, TED has flagged it for being fringe. At least they didn't remove it from their website as they did Graham Hancock's and Rupert Sheldrake's. I'm going to bring you some videos on those too. Really awesome TED Talks. But anyway, let's get into this one because this is a short video just about this video. So Roger Gilbertson does this confusing beginning about orbits, talking about an orbital path around the Earth that would give him a straight line around it. And he goes into this complex speech about searching for a particular type of orbit, and he doesn't really explain why he wants to know about the orbit, but what that information brings him to is that he did find a mathematically available model of a particular 2-day orbit. That means it takes 2 days to fully circumvent the Earth, in which it would have a straight line, and what he found was that this particular orbit has some very interesting characteristics about it. One is that it's outside of the Van Allen belts, which are these types of radiation absorbing kind of belts around the Earth. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. Maybe they don't absorb radiation. I forget what the Van Allen belts are really responsible for there. And as well as outside of the electromagnetic field of the Earth, apparently, which I thought it was kind of big. The electromagnetic field was pretty large. I know it's getting weaker and weaker, but this 2-day orbit that he found will put you outside of that. So those are two main characteristics there. But the third interesting characteristic that he dives into and into a tangent after like 10 minutes on orbits is that this orbit on the Earth wraps particularly around, and maybe you've heard this before, around ancient megalithic sacred sites on the Earth. And perhaps you've heard about this type of line before, or maybe information about ley lines, or ancient civilizations, or all of these things. And we're not going to get into ancient aliens and aliens here. We're just talking about this TED Talk. And so he goes through and shows you the ground line orbit of this particular 2-day orbit, and it goes through the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx. It goes through the Nazca lines, the temples of Angkor. It goes through, all of these incredible, Easter Island, and they're all in this orbit. And perhaps you've seen this before. This is something I've seen years ago, but I never corroborated it with a 2-day orbit that was mathematically accurate. I didn't make that connection. But so what he dives down into after this, he goes into this basically like condensed version of like human history is not what we think, because he goes on and presents the information about particular ancient civilizations and having all of this ancient types of art and in their megalithic structures on these sites, in these sites where the orbit goes around, depicted as holding particular handbags. And perhaps you've seen this information before, and I mean, it's not something secret, but it's all over the world that this is true. We find these types of carvings in stone and ancient megalithics and stoneworks that we don't really know how were created, and we can't really create them ourselves even today with today's technology. But we have these depictions of most often bearded figures, human figures with these types of bags. Like it's basically looks like a little handbag, is what he calls them, the handbags of the gods. And he's not the first to reference them. This is a legitimate phenomenon that we find that we cannot explain, that science cannot explain. And as he mentions in the TED Talk, he's not invoking ancient aliens or alien gods or something like this. He wants to learn specifically more about the people that created these megalithic works, what they knew, why they created them, and attribute their credit to their work and discover more about them, because they are us, they are our human history. But there's so much that we don't know about our human history and we can't figure out yet. And I mean, for TED Talk to flag this event as fringe is kind of annoying, because he's bringing up a lot of important things, because he's asking, basically the end of his TED Talk is a call of inspiration to inquiring minds and open-minded people that are willing to take the proper steps through academia, through publishing, through scientific investigation, and through exploration, through all of these proper steps and proper channels, and bring it more into the mainstream, try to understand a lot of these aspects. The bags of the gods, I don't know what these things are. I wish I could bring you more, visual, so you could understand what I'm talking about if you haven't seen this. But if you want to see all that, check out the TED Talk. Because what he goes into is that we don't know enough about our past. I'm gonna leave it right there for now, because there's so much more that we can get into on this topic, and it's very interesting to me, human history and ancient civilizations, and perhaps even ancient advanced civilizations, whatever that might be. But let's talk more about that in another video, because this one is already getting long enough. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Go watch the TED Talk and come back and leave me a comment and let me know what you think. The link to the video is in the description below. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out and watching this video. Bless.